Tonight's match and Oktoberfest night is presented by Nucor. Nucor Corporation is the safest, highest quality, lowest cost, most productive, and most profitable steel and steel products company in the world. Nucor is the official sponsor of Carolina Ascent FC. And we welcome you to Charlotte, North Carolina as we close in on kickoff in a battle of the top two teams in the USL Super League. It's Carolina Ascent FC hosting Brooklyn FC alongside former U.S. Women's National Team star Casey White. I'm Michael Watchering. We'll hear from Anna Whitty in just a moment. And because of a reschedule, these two teams play for the second time in 4 days, and Tuesday night's match was a seesaw affair.
Well, this makes it exciting because it's so close together. Carolina Ascent would start off quickly in that matchup with Brooklyn on the road, getting the first goal from Bedoya. A great finish, just bending it around the goalkeeper. But Brooklyn would continue to chip away at the game and eventually be rewarded by this back post header of Pentuso.
1-1, they shared the point. These are the only two teams in the league that have not given up multiple goals at any point, and they're two of the three that have double-digit points at this point in the year. They've been buoyed by their defensive performances, specifically the goalkeepers, and for more on that, we join the third member of our team, Anna Whitty.
Thanks, Michael. A matchup between number 1 and number 2. Carolina and Brooklyn aren't just at the top of the table based on their play between the 18s, but also their play between the sticks. Carolina's goalkeeper, Megan McClellan, is tied for the most clean sheets on the season with 3. McClellan is the epitome of the Super League. She has played overseas, she has played in various clubs here in the States, and has only conceded 4 goals this year for the Ascent. Brooklyn is a different story. Their starting goalkeeper, Nico Purcell, is getting her 3rd start on the season, and Brooklyn's head coach, Jess Silva, really believes in her tactical ability and her ability to play with her feet tonight, especially against this talented structure from the Ascent. 2 key pieces in goal tonight for this rematch in Charlotte.
Carolina, the last remaining unbeaten team in the league, have also excelled at home. 2 wins and 2 draws on the home pitch this year. They have been terrific defensively, having given up just 4 goals, all coming in the second half. And one of the big reasons why they have that piece is Jill Aguilera has played a lot of different roles for this group this year.
And she's the ultimate professional, will play wherever the team needs her. She can score, she can assist, but she can also defend really well in the 1v1. She'll be a catalyst for the way that Carolina Ascent wants to play on both sides of the ball tonight.
She is our player to watch, presented by Food Lion. Brooklyn, conversely, on the road this season, a win, a loss, and a draw. They've done a little bit of everything, and this is the last of their long road trip. They'll have the next 3 at home after this one.
And that's nice. They want to finish off strong on the road. Can they figure out a way to get maximum points before they head back home?
Brooklyn and Carolina clash for the second time in 4 days. The top 2 teams. Can Brooklyn overtake Carolina for the top spot? Or do the Ascent continue to hold their wire-to-wire stranglehold on the number 1 position in the USL Super League? Starting 11 and the kickoff come your way from Charlotte in just a moment.
New flavors. The same traditions. Be the guest of honor. Add more flavor to your parties. El Jimador. Spiked bebidas.
This is the beginning. This is a first practice, a first video session, a first pregame talk. This is a first ticket, a first scarf raise, a first kickoff. This is a tapestry of clubs and players and communities inspired by those who blazed the trail for women's sports, ready to inspire the next generation. We are the USL Super League. We're part of a movement, and this is our moment.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
The two most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why.
Yeah, I said what I said. I don't care, I paint the town red.
If you can survive this, it's going to make the whole story that much better.
The bright horses have broken free from the fields.
Tonight's match and Oktoberfest night is presented by Nucor, the official sponsor of the Carolina Ascent FC. Time to take a look at the starting 11s tonight, and here they are, presented by Capelli. One change for each side. One change for this group. Addison Merrick is out. Sydney Studer is in.
And they'll come out in their 4-3-3. Watch for DeMarco and Porter to play a little bit deeper with Mia Corbin in that attacking midfield role, supporting the front three of Sorepka, Basin, and Bedoya, who all can generate opportunities going forward.
And then for Brooklyn, Jess Silva told us that there are different characteristics between the goalkeepers, and Niku Purcell gets the start as lone change tonight.
And that'll be really important as they have that connection between the back line. Pentuso and Hill partner there in the middle of the back line as well. They'll be important. And watch for Sam Kroger to get on the ball a lot and look to dictate play for the front runners.
So closing in here on kickoff, there is Brooklyn as we take a look at tonight's keys to the game presented by Botero Carts.
And for the Carolina Ascent, it's about managing moments. They get some leads. Can they manage moments to try to take the way the other team likes to attack out of the game? Also, overloads in the wide channel for them could be really important in their attack. On the flip side for Brooklyn, the ball retention in midfield, keeping the ball, changing the point, and then when they do get in that final third, the finishing efficiency, the clean choices in which they are going to look for goal will be important as well.
That's Casey's Keys, brought to you by Botero Carts, and we are just about ready to kick things off here in this matchup. Brooklyn in the middle of playing 7 matches in a 25-day window, while Carolina will get this home match as the lone home match in a stretch of 5 out of 6 on the road. And we close in here between these two. Brooklyn winless in its last 3, 2 losses and a draw in that stretch. Carolina, meanwhile, has led for 272 minutes out of a possible 630. And with each passing week, you start to get a sense that these teams are getting more and more comfortable, more and more confident.
It's early in the season for anybody that starts their season only 6-7 games in, but also for teams that have just come together. So all those things are going to continue to grow as the season progresses, and you're seeing those little jumps in each of these teams. And so I'm interested to see how it's different from Tuesday and the matchup changes.
Michael Watring, Casey White, and Anna Whitty all with you here in Charlotte, North Carolina, as we watch Brooklyn FC and Carolina Ascent FC for the second time in a 4-day stretch here. The number 1 and number 2 teams in the USL Super League at this point in the year. Carolina out in that tri-colored kit. It's the silver and black for Brooklyn, and we're underway here tonight. Good to have you on board. Come in and stay a while with us as we watch these two teams collide. And I think both coaches talked a little bit about it when we spoke with them earlier this week, that there is a little bit of that when you just play each other 4 days before. You don't spend as much time on the scouting report and the video report. You just saw it. You just try to keep things fresh. Any kind of tweaks, any kind of changes that you can make to accelerate the difference tonight. Here's Aguilera throwing it through. It finds the back post, and it's punched right into the waiting arms of Purcell.
And that's a good start for the Carolina Ascent. You have the home advantage. Go right away if you can. This is the left back, Aguilera, getting forward, showing why she can get up and down that line in the wide channel. Plays it all the way across. Just not quite getting her feet right on the backside for the finish. But already you can see multiple numbers in the box for the Ascent.
Will that be a sign of things to come here tonight in an attacking form, as these two sides are excellent defensively. very difficult to find goals against each back line so far this year. It's a good crowd here tonight as well in Charlotte. A nice night. Temperatures will dip a little bit, as you would expect in fall in October in North Carolina.
And you mentioned just the matchup on Tuesday and now coming into this one. It is just the little things. You got to focus on the recovery piece. You've got to just fine-tune little nuances in the game because, one, that's so quick to turn around, but two, it was a tie as well. So not much is separating these two teams. So what's going to give tonight? That's what they have to really have focused on during the week.
Well, the other aspect of things, too, that both coaches mentioned is you take a look at Philip Poole, the head coach of Carolina Ascent, was the U.S. women's national team. Assistant coach for 4 years, but this is very early in the season. Philip Poole mentioned that to us. Not only is it the infancy of the league, but it's so early in this season for a year that's going to run until the end of May. What you're seeing right now is a very small sample size to what we will know come 2025.
And you're right from a management perspective, too. You can't get too high. You can't get too low. You have to manage those different ups and downs of the season because it is a long one. And also, you're building partnerships. You're still trying to buy into team identity, how you want to play, principles. So all those things come into play, and you just see little bits of growth every game.
Long ball along the right sideline. Kelsey Hill works and eventually watches the ball trickle out. And it is a goal kick in the end. Carolina, the last remaining unbeaten side, and it's Jess Silva's task tonight to try to upend the team that has 3 wins and 4 draws. And if Brooklyn were to win tonight, they would be the first team other than Carolina to hold the #1 spot in the Super League this year. To build from the back as this ball's launched down the pitch. This ball trickles and had to be cleared away by McClellan.
Well, that's exactly what you get from Isabel Cox. She loves to penetrate in that space behind the back line. And as the Ascent start to possess a little bit more, that's a space that will become available for Brooklyn. So the management piece between the back line of the Ascent and McClellan is going to be really important to make sure that they condense it quickly.
Kroger moves it to the left-hand side. This pass ricochets hard off of Garziano. Corbin, the intended target of this pass, unable to latch on. Kroger recycles. And Tuso had the opener, or had the equalizer rather, in the 54th minute. This right-hand side, it takes a ricochet, and McClellan has to dive to her left to ensure that that ball doesn't go any further.
That's the first time we've really seen Brooklyn FC get into possession here so far in the game. It's Garziano comes on the inside channel with the overlapping run. It's just a miscue at the back from Aguilera, but McClellan's up to the challenge.
Tonight's injury report is presented by Novant Health, and a couple injuries Carolina still dealing with. Audrey Harding has missed the last couple matches. One injury to speak of for Brooklyn at this point in the year. It's a good sign for Brooklyn, playing all these matches in a condensed window. After this, they'll go back home for 3 in an 8-day stretch, all on the home field. Corbin's pass gets deflected. It comes to Rosette. Bedoya takes it away. Bedoya had the opener on Tuesday in the 22nd minute. Guiding from the back. Ricochets and goes out.
There's really good defending shape from Brooklyn so far. You're seeing them trying to press a little higher through Garziano, and it's not allowing Carolina to build out. That's something I think we'll see throughout this half, is them picking moments of when to press, what are the cues that they can step and maybe put the Ascent under pressure in their own half.
Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina is the official health insurance provider of the Carolina Ascent FC. Blue Cross North Carolina makes health insurance easy. Discover employer, individual, family, Medicare, and Medicaid plans from Blue Cross North Carolina. Better care starts here. A little bit of pressure from Pluck. Ziano watches it on the wide side. Tuso. Tuso, Thousand Oaks, California. Very experienced. Time in France, Finland, Sweden. After playing collegiately at Oregon State. Corbin sees that ball just drift behind her. And now a chance for Rosette to recycle.
I'm really interested to see this matchup between George and Jill Aguilera of Carolina Ascent on this near side channel. George is a player that can really operate in space, and Jill Aguilera likes to go forward. So which of the teams is going to utilize that player more? And I think Aguilera is going to have her hands full defensively, but she has so much experience playing at an international level and handling players. But I think that's going to be a fun one to watch.
Aguilera with nearly 40 appearances in the NWSL, also has 13 caps with Puerto Rico. More experienced players in this league. This ball is well weighted and just misses, latching on to Riley Baisden. Purcell.
You'll just see Sam Kroger's going into the back line there, trying to help Brooklyn build out, because Carolina presses with these two front runners, Corbin and Sarepka, so it matches up with the center backs. That's how that holding midfielder can help build in this space. They're just showing a lot of patience in being able to do that and try to shift the defensive unit of Carolina.
And Purcell plays deeper, so that means that those center backs will have to play a little bit more of a role, trying to build from the back. Takeaway. Breslin moves to the left-hand side and a throw-in coming. One shot attempt came from Carolina just about 45 seconds in. Tenth minute of action here. We're scoreless between Carolina Ascent and Brooklyn FC here tonight. The top two teams on points in the league. Carolina has never been outside of first, 13 points. Brooklyn #2 with 11 points. Fort Lauderdale, the only other team with double-digit points, is getting ready to kickstart their match here tonight, just a few minutes away from kickoff as they host Lexington. Michael Watering, Casey White, and Anna Whitty all with you here tonight. That is a terrific ball. Bedoya sprints, but the flag goes up for offside.
Well, this was a great buildup from Carolina Ascent. You see Vicky Bruce getting into the wide channel when they're building up. I don't know if that was offside. It had to have been really close, especially because Bedoya could see across the entire line, so it must have been close. I thought one of the center backs was maybe leaving Bedoya on, but perhaps it was tight enough there just to make that call. But I like this buildup from there. It allows, when Vicky Bruce dribbles, it allows Aguilera to get a little higher. Then you make Rosette as the outside back make a decision. She steps, and that space is available behind the back line. They get that timing right. That could really work well for them in this half.
Those relationships are only going to come with more minutes. The Carolina Ascent online storefront is live. Stock up for our next home match on scarves, shirts, custom jerseys, and more. To shop, visit carolinaascent.myshopify.com. Carolina starting to flex some muscles. And a foul whistled against Rosette, and she's going to hear more than just the whistle. She's going to be booked.
And this is great if you're a front runner. If you're Bedoya, you're playing around, going creative, 1v1. It gets Rosette a little bit upset in this moment, right? You continue to go at her. Look at the creativity you see, the technical execution. All Rosette can do is stop her momentum and pull. She did have a covering player in Mackenzie George, but it's hard not to want to stop that attack going forward.
All cards tonight brought to you by Apollo Law. And Rosette the first to pick up a booking. Carolina starting to look more and more threatening. They have 6 different goal scorers this year. That equals Brooklyn's total goal tally for the campaign. On that right-hand side. Nice maneuver, funneling it in. Cleared away, but only as far as DeMarco. That one looked like it hit the official. No whistle as it's just lifted along the sideline and away and out of trouble. Six of the 8 goals that Carolina have scored this year have come in the first half. Aguilera made a nice move, but Corbin had stepped back instead of forward.
And a lot of times what you'll see when a team starts to get a certain, a bit of success in the wide area, you got to see how the opposition adapts, because the longer it goes on, Brooklyn will adapt to that. They're getting the overloads in the wide channels, which was what was really important for the Ascent. But if they don't take advantage of it early, Brooklyn will have the ability to make some adjustments and try to shut that down.
It's a good turn. In the middle of the field by Sarepka. Taylor Porter and Philip Poole set would be the player of the month every month if it was based just on output and effort. That ball trickles out. Brooklyn looking to seize a little bit of possession here in this moment. They have not led at any point in any of their last 3 matches, after trailing just 1 time in their first 4. And in that match, they took the point against Spokane when Garziano equalized with a penalty kick late. Breslin shuffles around a defender. Pluck leaves this wide. Rosette would have been the closest target. Instead, no issues as McClellan backpedals.
That's better from Brooklyn, because when you play against a 4-4-2 defensively, which is what Carolina is since doing when they're out of possession, you have to probe, you have to break lines and get in the spaces and the half spaces between the lines. That's what they did in midfield. It's just that final pass that needs to connect. But overall, as they adapt throughout this game, Mackenzie Pluck, Sam Kroger, Breslin, they're all going to be really important in that midfield space.
Brooklyn still searching for that first shot, but maybe starting to find solutions. Here's the minutes tick by on the road here against Carolina. The top team in the USL Super League, but as we all know, a lot of season to go and a lot can change between now and then. That ball just does go across the chalk, and McClellan will get a chance here. Tied with DC Powers, Morgan Aquino, for the most clean sheets in the league this year, with 3 of them. Aguilera, Corbin, taken off the ball as the foul is whistled. And Tuso. Here's a giveaway for a moment, juggling it. Bruce unable to come out of there. Garziano leaves it behind. And that was the intended target of that pass from Breslin. Philip Poole talked about the Brooklyn match a couple days ago. Thought it was a strong performance. And ultimately, in the end, his biggest takeaway is we created enough chances to win the game. We just didn't put them away. And that will be his key tonight. Create those chances, but also finish at a higher rate.
And that's really important. When you start games strong, you leave something on the table if you don't put those away early.
A chance brewing for just a second before another sturdy defensive maneuver. Now George recycles, and Brooklyn tries to get the ball forward and take advantage of those chances.
And to your point, I think that's what's so hard about coaching, because you give the opposition staff a chance, if you get to halftime and you're only leading by a goal, or if it's tied, to really make adjustments and go into halftime, explain that to their team, get back out there, and all these players can make those adjustments quickly. But if you can do it on the fly in the first half before those adjustments can be made, then you provide more separation for your team.
Liverpool was very complimentary of the goalkeeping that Brooklyn has. Said Sydney Martinez was the difference between 3 points and a draw with the saves that she made in that matchup, and then talked about Niku Purcell being one of the best up-and-coming young goalkeepers in this country, and somebody that the U.S. Women's National Team has had their eye on. Hooking ball all the way across. McClellan, rather, will wander over there to gather it in. Just haven't been enough numbers. This is a formidable top three that Brooklyn have. And once they start clicking, could very easily be the best top three of any team in this league.
And I think you make a good point, because they are a very dynamic front three, but both of these teams, I think, is what we expect out of a 1-2 matchup. They're both really clean technically. There's some really good chess match playing going on where each team is able to get some possession, but really they're not able to get a lot of numbers forward, and it's really organized behind the ball from both groups. So as the game goes on, it's going to be who can really upset the other team and pull players out of position.
Bedoya dances past Rosette. Bedoya takes it to the left. Rosette back over there. It's a tap from Bedoya in the end, and Rosette does really well to recover and knock it out.
And that ball was played over the inline. Goal kick.
In the aftermath of both hurricanes Helene and Milton, the USL has partnered with United Way Suncoast to help the Tampa Bay area recover from the devastation the storm left behind. To learn how you can get involved, scan the QR code or visit uslsoccer.com/Milton to ensure individuals and families have the access to resources they need to recover. Off of the turnover from the goal kick, Corbin. Bedoya tracks it down. Bedoya weaves it in. Corbin gets a piece, unable to hold on to possession. It only goes as far as Porter. Right-hand side on the overlap. Crossed in. One deflection, and it stings the strings. Carolina have the opener in the match. In the 19th minute, it's a flawlessly executed cross. And the Ascent have the opener, leading it 1-0 from Ashlyn Sarepka.
Everything has come from the wide channels. Bedoya has been a bright spot. Mia Corbin almost keeps it alive, but it's Porter. She gets that first touch, gets it into the outside space. Good build-up here, and then it's Ashlyn Sarepka just darts right in front. She does exactly everything right. You've got to have the near post runner. It's a great ball in from the overlapping outside back. Studer in this moment just puts it into a dangerous area, and Sarepka times it perfectly.
Ashlyn Sarepka scores. Was the number 10 rated recruit out of the Tar Heel State, where she was the two-time Gatorade Player of the Year. And she starts our scoring here this evening, and the Ascent have the opener in this one. Carolina Ascent goal presented by Food Lion. Score to give me more.
And while that was a great finish, a great ball in, I like the ball circulation. You go from one side off the left side being dangerous, finding an overload there. You keep it centrally. You allow play to develop to get your outside back over around you on the overlap. It's just really good play, and to cap it off with the finish, Carolina Ascent has to be happy.
Sarepka had 6 game-winning goals, the most in Alabama history in 2022. Only a matter of time before she starts to regain that form from college. And the Ascent have the opener and have the lead, just like Tuesday set up. And they led 1-0 before an equalizer just before the 1 hour mark from Brooklyn. And Carolina in the last 2 games, they've had the lead before giving up second half equalizers. to share points. Can they hold on to an advantage in this one? Brooklyn looking for a quick rebuttal. Nice poke away, well handled.
Well, the message has to be to Carolina Ascent is don't leave anything on the table. Keep going. See if you can capitalize in the first half because they have had the majority of play. Brooklyn has had a couple moments where they've gotten into the final third, but nothing really to test the back line. So you want to capitalize on that while you have the run of play and see if you can turn that into another goal.
It's the earliest goal that Brooklyn have allowed this season out of the 5 that they've allowed all year long. And we were talking about conversion rate on one side. Well, this is a Brooklyn team that has 85 shots. That's the 3rd most in the league, but they've only converted on 9% of their chances. So they've shown that they can get chances. Haven't quite had that ability to finish at this point in the year.
When speaking with Jess Silva, she talked about how the collective buildup and the collective in-possession play has been more of their focus, and the efficiency will come. She believes that if they create chances, they'll continue to work on that. So just pointing out that it's so early in the season, she knows that that has to get better, and that it eventually will be, and that's something that has to be a focus for them going forward.
Yeah, I think for every club in the USL Super League is the hardest thing to get across to these players is it's a long season. We're not the team that we're going to be at the end of the year. Now, how can we be patient? How can we continue to grow? It is very cliche. It is coaches speak to talk about getting a little bit better every single game, but all it takes is a few game winning streak and you can all of a sudden change your fortunes on the table.
Well, there's such a balance because you want your players to be motivated. You don't want them to be okay with not winning. They're here to win, and so are the coaches, right? But you have to have a long-term vision as well. So balancing that, when does your team need to hear what to keep them motivated, to keep them going, and to understand the process?
Carolina's process this year has been flawless. 3 wins, 4 draws, the best team in the league here at the end of October. Conversely, Brooklyn looking for a comeback. They trail for the 4th consecutive match as they have not held a lead in any of the last 4 now. And once again, find themselves looking to make a comeback here in this one. Join the Carolina Ascent on Saturday, November 9th for Salute to Service Night. Our Trailblazers are back at home and will take the pitch against Spokane Zyphert FC. Lock in your seats and get your own Carolina Ascent branded beer stein. Visit carolinaascent.com/tickets to get your tickets today. I'll have to get a look at that beer stein. That might be a good addition. Certainly
motivator.
Yeah. See the best team in the league, get a beer stein. Pretty good 2-for-1 special. How does Brooklyn respond now as they still have yet to record a shot in this match? Rosette taps it. George spies it. Instead, Bedoya retreats to the sideline and ricochets it off of Rosette. Composed play right there by the 22-year-old.
That was much better from Brooklyn. They played into the feet of their attacking midfielders, back into Sam Kroger as a holding mid, who now she's facing forward in her attacking half and able to distribute. That's what we need to see more of from Brooklyn FC, is getting in between those lines, getting the midfielders facing forward. That will make the Ascent more uncomfortable.
Silva talked about Tuesday night's match, felt that the movement off the ball and mobility in the midfield was one of their strong suits. Excellent in defensive transition, and expects her team to be even better in March and April, but just haven't been scoring enough goals. I want to find that instinct that will come with time and find a way to start dominating games start to finish, not just defensively but also in how they attack. Free kick coming here might just be what they need. Mackenzie Pluck, who played at Duke, program record for the Blue Devils with 107 career matches. The 24-year-old ready to go. Pluck curls this in. It takes one ricochet. Second chance arced in. This ball tangles around. It takes a ricochet after Garziano Again sprints forward. Carolina was asking for offside. That's what McClellan is yelling at the assistant referee on, but didn't get the call in a pretty good moment here for Brooklyn.
And it's nerve-wracking right there if you start play because they do think it's offside, but Studer might have kept her on. It was very close. Garziano keeps playing, and no one is really reacting. Luckily for Carolina Ascent, McClellan does step forward and gets the ball.
This ball chopped across, and McClellan picks it up off of a bounce. There's been much work to do for McClellan so far.
There's an example right there of what Carolina's done really well. They've just solved the pressure in the 1v1.
And releases that pressure with a good pass down the field as well.
Yes, and with the way that Brooklyn's pressing, it's not that it's not in a good way. It's a 4-1-4-1. They have good pressure on the ball, but they're solving off the dribble, Carolina is, and then they're figuring out, okay, how do I expose space elsewhere once I do solve it? And when they do that, then you've got players running forward at speed.
Bruce, old school central defender, according to Coach Philip Poole. The experience of this back line has certainly showcased itself at the beginning of this year. The international, collegiate, center experience that this group has had showcased tying for the league lead with 3 clean sheets this year, and has been a big reason why Carolina sits as the last remaining unbeaten in Super League history.
And when speaking with him, he was talking about Bruce and with Taylor Porter, who you mentioned earlier, who have the 2 most minutes on the team. They're right down the spine as well. So you've got that structure right down the middle of the field with Bruce at the center back, Porter in the holding midfield, and they can win balls defensively. They've got engines, can cover ground. That's really nice to have that and build your team around.
And another key piece of that is Jill Aguilera, the versatile defender. For more on the former Arizona Wildcat, we send it to Anna Whitty.
Defender Jill Aguilera has played the last 3 matches on Carolina's back line. The Puerto Rican international has a goal, 2 assists on the season, and has played higher in the flank positions this year. Poole said because of Aguilera's versatility, depending on the team's formation, he likes to use her in different spots. Today, Carolina is out with experience. Addison Merrick not available. Aguilera adds depth to the back line.
36 appearances for Chicago Red Stars in 2 years, and then spent some time in the Summer Cup with Washington Spirit earlier this year. Two-time former All Pac-12 selection has really showcased her ability to play in a multitude of areas for Carolina. Here's Aguilera moving this ball forward. Just past the half-hour mark in this one. Sarepka scores her first goal for Carolina in the 20th minute, the 7th different player to score for the Ascent this year in the 19th minute, and that's why Carolina leads it 1-0 after a half hour. Michael Watring, Casey White, Anna Whitty, and our team with you. Good to have you on board for the USL Super League.
Well, I love the way Ashlyn Sarepka plays. She's a player that she can be really involved and go in the 1v1, but she's also someone that has the mental fortitude that if she's not touching the ball a lot, she can still be a goal scorer. That's a skill. And to be able to do that and still make the runs, and when the team needs you, you get that touch for a goal. That's big, and she showed that here tonight.
Sarepka started at Virginia before going to Alabama. 10 goals, 2 assists in her senior year with the Crimson Tide. Rosette gets it back and finds some space. George was the intended target and it has too much weight on it as it trickles out for a goal kick.
But you kind of get the sense that Brooklyn is starting to build into the game a little bit. Carolina's looked a little more comfortable in their possession, but Brooklyn's starting to find some space. Now, it's when they do find that space, not to be rushed. The technical piece is going to be big for them.
Jess Silva talked about evolving every week, and there are changes, there are hurdles that go in to not just being an expansion side, but an expansion league. Just some of the normal things that might be in place that might be second nature, you have to learn on a daily basis. And then also, how do you develop those principles to not overwhelm them? And I think that's one of the harder parts as a coach, is you might have so many thoughts as you see DeMarco is down here for Carolina, but there's so many things that you want as a coach. You spend all your life thinking about the principles that you want, how you want to play, what you want to do, the players that you need. And sometimes when you only have 6 weeks to prepare, you have to really shrink down the playbook and try to get things as simple as possible, as you see what happened here with DeMarco.
Yeah, and you're right. There's just a little bit of a collision there in midfield. But as a coach, so much of it is managing the environment for your players, and so their ability to perform is put at the forefront. And a big part of that is prioritizing. Prioritizing when a player needs to hear something, what a player needs to hear, what's the most critical information that needs to be given to a player in any given moment. And that is incredibly hard to manage because you have so much going on in your head. That's why you have a staff, that's why you bounce ideas, and that's something that all of these staffs have to figure out on a weekly basis. What information are we giving our players in order to perform right now, not necessarily down the line?
Yeah, and also when you're talking about athletes, you don't want to bog them down with so information that they're not being instinctual, they're not being reactive to the game. They're thinking about what's happening sometimes because of all the information that's available in today's age with technology and game-on-game situations, that you want them to be able to succeed on a daily basis because of who they are as a player and not necessarily the information overload.
You're right, and I loved information as a player, but further away from the game. But I didn't also want that void of just knowing that you had the confidence in me to deliver. And so I think that balance is really important for these professional athletes.
Both these coaches working on that. Jess Silva saying that competition has gotten better and better through training. Gained a lot of clarity. And she said that you don't expect to build everything in one day. You want to get 1% better on a daily basis. And in the end, you're in an 8-team league here in the very first season. And you're sitting here, I'm looking at the schedule, and I'm still in the top third of the schedule. There's a lot of season to go here between now and then. In the end of the season to see how things sort themselves out. And so far, both of these teams have flourished out of the gates. The number 1 and number 2 teams in the USL Super League battling for supremacy after sharing a point 4 days ago in Brooklyn. After the stoppage there for DeMarco, back into play as Carolina leads it 1-0. Sarepka's goal in the 19th minute continues to hold the difference, but it is a turnover. Kroger joins the fray for a moment, and DeMarco back on the field, knocks it away. Pluck, pivots, curls this ball wide. George tries to latch on, and it's funneled away. And so far, the back line of Carolina winning every battle in this front three for Brooklyn have not really had a chance.
And the piece of that is even when it hasn't been overly organized or Brooklyn has found a little bit of space, the recovery run of Aguilera to get in behind, just make sure that nothing comes from it, has been really good. That's sometimes an overlooked part of defending, is how do you react to something when a team has figured out how to penetrate?
They're There'll be a change in the plot before the end of the first half. Rosette. George sent forward. George unable to hold on to it in time. Former Tennessee Volunteer watches it just trickle out for a goal kick.
Goals over the line. That's a goal kick. Carolina Ascent.
Carolina has not allowed a first half goal this season. This ball juggles around. Gattuso doesn't get enough on it to find Rosette. It trickles out. And it's a throw here for Brooklyn.
Another aspect we're seeing of the Ascent is their ability to play in a compact, organized defensive shape. But the risk in that is that you give Brooklyn a little time to feel more comfortable in possession. So there's like that ebb and flow of risk versus reward. You know, how much do you sit back? How much do you go forward and see out different moments of the game? I think for the Ascent, they don't want to give up anything in the back, but I think they can continue to still try to go forward in the wide spaces and put Brooklyn under pressure.
Brooklyn has scored the second fewest goals in the league so far this year with 6. Trying to change that here today. Pluck draws the attention of 2 defenders, gets the angle, curls it in, takes one bounce. The shot attempt ricochets off of a defender. Garziano looked like she had empty space in front. And then the flag up here for offside in the end.
Well, Mackenzie Pluck has been an absolute bright spot, not only in possession, but now she's starting to face forward a little bit more, take on in the 1v1, does really well here just to get a little bit of separation, hits it around and then saves it from going out. Good ball across, and this is the best opportunity of the half so far for Brooklyn, but anything that's good that's coming in the attack has really been through the feet of Pluck in midfield.
Another stingy defensive performance from Carolina. That shot attempt was the first logged in this match by Brooklyn. Comes with less than 10 minutes to go before the halftime break. Marco carries this ball forward. Runs into resistance, but gets enough on it. Rosette, though, takes over after Bedoya unable to get it right back. A stumble and then a takeover. Baisden. And a foul given in the 40th minute. Carolina will have a chance off of a restart after Serepka was taken down. th minute, 1-0. Carolina out in front. #1 team in the Super League with a goal advantage, the best goal differential in the league. Most goals. They have 11 now for the year. High arcing bender to this left-hand side. Pluck heads the first, waits for the second. Instead, Corbin gathers. Trying to get it out wide for Studer. Now Mackenzie George. Ball goes across the chalk for a Carolina throw. How do you assess what we've watched so far through 40 minutes?
Well, I think Carolina just looks really composed. They look comfortable at home. They don't look rushed when they're out of possession either. They look like they have a very solid game plan in place. I'd like to see them take a little more risk to try to get that second goal, especially because on Tuesday they were not able to secure that 1-0 win. For Brooklyn, I think it's about putting the back line of Carolina Ascent under a little more pressure. I'd be interested to see if in the second half they'll press a little bit higher.
Change be made in half number 2. Down by a goal now. Rosette, her clearance doesn't go very far. Corbin shields, gets ahead to it, and now Rosette is able to get it away. Sarepka gets it right back. Brooklyn scrambling defensively, trying to clear the line and gain some possession. Garziano on the turn, pluck, fouls Sarepka. Bucket hats, fireworks, stadium blankets, and more. The Carolina Ascent has you covered with giveaways all season long. Guarantee your favorite giveaways and choose 3 matches and 3 games on your schedule your way. For more information about our 3 mini plans, visit carolinaascent.com/tickets. This ball bounces. See Hill wins the throw here for Brooklyn. Looking for its first win of the month of October. So far, a couple losses and a draw. Kruger. A long ball to that left-hand side. Brooklyn take advantage of this chance. It's good separation. Hiked in over the top of the head of Garziano. Rosette waits. And gets funneled away.
Well, I think that's a more effective play out of the playbook for Brooklyn, is to go a little more direct once they do gain a little bit more ground. You use the speed of Isabel Cox to get around the outside, get numbers forward. I think that's what they can do more of, whether it's pressing themselves. They can't do it for 90 minutes necessarily from maybe an energy perspective, but picking moments to expose that space. You use the athleticism there, tries to get it over the 3 defenders of the Ascent, does well. Rosette's in there. That's your outside back all the way forward. So there's a good commitment to get into the box. Now it's just picking out the players for a clean finish.
I think if you watch Brooklyn and you're an opposing team on film, you just hope that this match that you play against them is not the match when they start to click in the attack, because once they do, they could really become scary. Couple more minutes to go here in the opening 45. 1-0 for Carolina. The foul whistled. This was a similar script as Tuesday night's match. Pantuso would tie it up in the 54th minute. After Bedoya scored in the 22nd, tonight Sarepka scores in the 19th minute. And the Ascent lead it by a goal to 0. And now Sam Kroger. And Rutgers, 22-year-old. Reset play here. And can Brooklyn find an equalizer before halftime? Kroger sidewinds this ball in. It takes one bounce over Corbin. Second phase for Rosette. And it gets intercepted. Carolina a chance to break. Bedoya charges. Bedoya hooks this ball all the way around to the right-hand side. It's laid back, and it's a pretty shot that just whistles wide left. Sarepka had her sights set on a first-half brace.
And this is incredible counter-attacking soccer from the Carolina Ascent. Bedoya goes quickly at speed. Her touches go inside. Eventually that draws players in. She sees the run on the complete opposite side. This is great composure, a good touch. And Sarepka had all the time in the world there to try to bend that in. Just doesn't get quite enough on it on her left foot. But I like this one-touch ball there right in that space for the finish. And that's definitely a great opportunity to try to extend their lead.
First half stoppage is brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. 3 minutes of first half stoppage time. That was a clean build-up. It looked like that ball was going to be slotted in from Sarepka after Bazin had teed it up on a platter for her.
And those are little things that if you're Carolina State, you hope that doesn't come back to haunt you in the second half, because they played a really good first half. As the game goes on, Brooklyn FC is going to have to commit more numbers forward. When they make mistakes like they did off of Rosette's foot there, you really want to be able to bury those chances. And so you let them linger in these games, it can make it hard for you to secure the 3 points.
And a reminder that neither team has given up multiple goals this season, so goal-scoring chances like that very much at a premium. Aguilera nods this ball forward. Pantuso gets enough on it to get it away, and Purcell spins it out. Carolina a throw. Looking to flex its muscles here in the final 90 seconds of the first half. This ball through the middle, really given away. Brooklyn will want to have the final say of this opening half. They've recorded 2 shots. Neither have been on target for a team so far this year that has racked up 85 shots in 7 matches. So just goes to show the defensive work that Carolina has been able to put in.
And I think the lack of the possessions really hurt Brooklyn as well. They haven't had a moment where they've established really clear possession, where Carolina Ascent has really had to shift or move too often. And so when that happens, you just can't get numbers forward in the attack. And that's where they're really struggling as the offside flag goes up. But they're really struggling to get numbers up around Garziano up top to where there's multiple runs that are dangerous.
Each side had 12 shots in the Tuesday night affair. Currently it sits at 5-2 in favor of Carolina. Winding in on the close of the opening 45, and Carolina looking to make it 8 for 8 to begin the year without allowing a first half goal. Brooklyn look to have the final say though, if there's enough time. George Hunts. Sidney Studer though knocks it out. And there's your first half whistle as well. So Carolina gets the goal from Sarepka, and it's 1-0 at halftime. What do you think of what we saw?
I think it was a great first half. Both teams are clear in their identity and how they're trying to play. Carolina Ascent has been really great in possession. They look composed. They look in control. Brooklyn has to figure out a way to upset their composure right now because the Ascent look like they're cruising.
Carolina has the lead at halftime for a team that has led for nearly 1/2 of the minutes that they have played this year. So Carolina, a team that has trailed for only 28 minutes of a possible 675, have the lead at halftime, looking to gain separation on the USL Super League standings. Ashlyn Sarepka scores in the 19th minute on a pass from Josie Studer, and a 1-0 advantage for the Ascent at the break. The last remaining unbeaten team in the league, having drawn each of its last 3, is looking to get back into the win column. And so far, so good through the opening 45. Anna Whitty is standing by with our goal scorer, Ashlyn Sarepka.
Ashlyn, you are the 7th goal scorer for the Ascent this season. You guys have been so efficient in your first 8 games on the offense. Why?
I think it's just coming together each week. We work on it in and out, just patience in the attack, and everything we worked on in practice was shown in the goal. I mean, it was an amazing team goal, and we've been talking about not scoring worldies, just getting tap-ins, and that's what happened. And so I know I saw Philip really excited, so it's something that we've just been working on in and out, and it came true today.
It was an amazing team defensive effort as well. You didn't allow Brooklyn any shots. How do you keep that consistent in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, our defense has been amazing all year. They're so hard to break down and so organized, and so that's something we take pride in. We couldn't get attacks without them, so just them being organized, communicating, and it all starts from them.
Thanks, Ashlyn.
Thank you.
Michael?
Thanks so much, Anna, standing by with Ashlyn Sarepka there. 45 minutes gone by in this one. And Ashlyn Sarepka's 19th minute goal has held up so far. 1-0 the score at halftime. We step out for a break. More to come from Charlotte around the corner.
How do you make a sustainable impact? You do it at industrial scale. You use clean energy to make circular, low-emission steel. You help automakers and energy producers reduce carbon impact. And builders rise to meet sustainability goals. Nucor, made for good.
today.
I am?
Mm-hmm. Come on.
My sister loves volunteering with her coworkers. I asked her why she likes it so much.
This is my little sister.
She said there's something special about helping out with Food Lion.
Yes, of course. Have a great day.
You get to make people smile.
Here to fill tables and hearts with hope. Food Lion feeds, here for every moment.
When it comes to delivering high quality, affordable health care, relationships matter. And after 90 years, Blue Cross North Carolina is proud of the relationships we've built with you. We're 5,000 neighbors, friends, and family committed to improving the health and well-being of everyone across this state. We're here for you, all of you.
What does a better tomorrow look like? More people enjoy safer, more comfortable indoor spaces, clean water, clean air, healthy food, and a healthier planet. That's what Train Technologies believes tomorrow should look like. So we put people and the planet first. Today, we take bold action. So tomorrow, there's a better world. For everyone.
This is the beginning. This is a first practice, a first video session, a first pregame talk. This is a first ticket, a first scarf raise, a first kickoff. This is a tapestry of clubs and players and communities inspired by those who blaze the trail for women's sport, ready to inspire the next generation. We are the USL Super League. We're part of a movement, and this is our moment.
Carolina Ascent Halftime is presented by Nucor, Capelli Sport, Novant Health, Train, and Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. And we're welcoming you back here to Charlotte. Michael and Casey back with you for our halftime report. A&J Winery brings you the standings, and Carolina continues to hold that top spot. And as it sits, they would jump 5 points clear of Fort Lauderdale. But still, you're looking at the games played. A lot of games still to be played for some of these teams in the league.
There's still so much out there, so much that can happen. But I'll tell you what, there are pivotal moments in the season, and a win for Carolina tonight would be a pivotal one because it provides a little bit of separation. But still, all of these teams, really a lot to play for since it's so early.
It is very early in the season, and we take a look at our upcoming schedule, brought to you by Capelli. And just as I glance down, Fort Lauderdale has just scored. Addie McCain has put Fort Lauderdale United on top of Lexington 1-0. And then in the midweek, Brooklyn, I mentioned their gauntlet of games, 7 games in a 25-day window. And Friday night, Carolina back in action as they visit Dallas, one of their 5 road matches in a 6-game window. Wall-to-wall coverage of the USL Super League all week long. All of them streaming live on Peacock. Halftime here in Charlotte with the Ascent out in front, 1-0 at the break. We'll step out for a break. We'll have the highlights and stats from the opening 45 when we return. And we welcome you back here to Charlotte. Tonight's match, an Oktoberfest night, is presented by Nucor. Nucor Corporation is the safest, highest quality, lowest cost, most productive, and most profitable steel and steel products company in the world. Nucor is the official sponsor of the Carolina Ascent FC. News and notes from around the USL. DC Power gets its first win as they press against Brooklyn and get the own goal in that one, the first win of the year. Lexington scoring the second half stoppage time winner against Spokane for its first win in club history. And Madison Perez assisted on the final goal of the game for Lexington. 5th assist of the year already for Perez. And we take a look at tonight's match highlights presented by Nucor. And this matchup between Carolina and Brooklyn, a very similar script to Tuesday night. But right at the outset of this one, Brooklyn trying to take advantage of an opportunity here as they had the bill, just didn't have that finishing ingredient.
They really did do well early on. There was a little bit of a miscue at the back, but they didn't get a whole lot more throughout this half. And then in the 19th minute, all of the possession paid off for Carolina Ascent. The misclearance here, Porter is able to get it under control, keeps possession. This buildup from DeMarco is great, putting Studer in a great position to set up Ashlyn Sarepka, and that would be how the Ascent would get on top with the first goal. This is a great run right across the front. Sarepka times it perfectly and gets just a little touch to deflect it around the keeper.
Her first goal for the Carolina Ascent, the 7th different player to do that, and then this was maybe the best shot that Brooklyn had. It comes off of this clearance by Studer, though, right there, knocking it away from Garziano.
It's just a lot of half chances for Brooklyn. Pluck's been really good in possession, but then Carolina Ascent would figure out how to counterattack the opposite direction. It's Bedoya, and this was beautiful from Bedoya. Puts it in behind the back line. It's a dangerous area. They have to recover Brooklyn, and Sarepka almost makes it two. Not only two for the Ascent, but would have been her second goal of the game. Tries to bend it into the far post, just not enough curl on that to get around and inside the goal.
Could have been 2-0, but a strong performance from Carolina after 45 minutes of play. They have more shots on target than Brooklyn has total shots in this matchup. And Carolina with a 1-0 lead at the break. The Ascent on top here at halftime as they look to close this one out, something they haven't done in their last couple. 1-0 score at halftime. When we come back, second half action ignites. Closing in on second half kickoff here from Charlotte, it's Brooklyn and Carolina Ascent, and the Ascent lead it 1-0 at halftime. Ashlyn Serapka's first goal of the year in the 19th minute has held up, and our second half is underway. Brooklyn in the gray and black kits tonight, and the tri-colored kits for Carolina. Michael Watring, Casey White, and Anna Whitty all with you here tonight. Good to have you on board for this matchup, and it's a quick surge off the restart. Isabel Cox into corner. One sub as well for Brooklyn. Sasha Pickard comes in and replaces Rosette, who picked up that yellow card. Sub is brought to you by Train Tech. Corner kick here for Carolina, brought to you by Hop Fly Brewing Company. Bender, back post. McClellan sure-handed in traffic. And to come up strong there. Philip Poole talked about McClellan. She's put in that work, and he said that it typically takes between 30 to 40 games to become a pro. Her experience in Denmark, now in the USL, she's starting to creep up on those numbers where she now has some of that memory, that muscle memory in those moments to understand how to handle every different sequence.
There's so much that you have to think about from behind the back line as a goalkeeper, and there's different scenarios that come in. One little touch here, one little touch there can change an angle of a shot, an angle of the way that a ball's crossed or played in, or what your team needs as you help and build out. There's so many different tactical things that you just have to play to experience, and that's what he talked about, that she's now had more and more of those games in different cultures, in the international play outside of this country, and that just helps a goalkeeper become more nuanced in the way they can contribute.
Brooklyn be able to find a response like they did on Tuesday. And Carolina be able to see this one all the way through and maintain that top spot on the table. Fort Lauderdale have leapfrogged Brooklyn based off of the results currently going on. Fort Lauderdale leading 1-0, closing in on halftime in their matchup against Lexington.
And I think a lot of people would think these first 15 minutes are critical for Brooklyn. I would argue it's more critical for Carolina. How do they respond? They had a pretty flawless first half, if I'm being honest. And yes, we could pick apart certain things, but they executed everything quite well. And so for them, it's, can you establish that again? Can you figure out how to put your stamp on the game? For Brooklyn, they just need to make sure that they build and they build into the game. That can take a little bit more time. I don't think they necessarily have to start and get that equalizer right away.
Anna Whitty had a chance to speak with Jess Silva at halftime. Anna?
Brooklyn's head coach Jess Silva said the team really had to change their attitude in the first half. A conversation during an injury changed that, and it allowed Garziano to get on the ball more and create 2 chances for Brooklyn. Silva said, we've had our moments, we just have to start taking them here.
Moments here in this matchup. Starting to play with a little bit more assertiveness in the opening several minutes. Sam Kroger lines this ball up. Kroger backspins this ball to the top of the 6. A couple headers loose, pounded in, and McClellan catches it. She was so patient back there between the pipes, and eventually just watched the ball melt into her paws.
And you said it, she was patient. A lot of times goalkeepers will want to expand their range and come out and get it, but when there's that high trajectory, it's very hard for anyone to get power on a header on frame. So she was really smart there just to wait as Cox and Hill tried to get ahead on that and just stay there and react to it.
It's a good start for Brooklyn against a Carolina team that has led in each of the last 2, but has given away tying goals in both of those matches. This ball well filleted over the top. Baisden takes a shot, and it gets saved. How about Purcell rescuing this chance after a delightful ball over the top for Baisden?
It's a great recognition from Jill Aguilera. A great bending ball into that space, able to find Baisden right in the area, and she does a good job. It's Purcell, though, just gets down very quickly, but I like the choice from Baisden to keep it low and go back to the post it came from.
A strong save from Purcell in a critical moment. Corner kick now for Baysden. Brought to you by Nucor. 30-year-old who played collegiately at Pepperdine. Whips this ball in. Comes to the back post. First ball is saved. Bruce's second chance gets knocked away. Purcell keeping Brooklyn in this.
And this is an incredible ball for the corner kick all the way to the back post as one of the players is getting checked on. But Baysden plays it all the way across. It's looping in. Everyone's run goes to the front. It distracts. There's a good opportunity on frame from Bruce, and also great defending from Isabel Cox of Brooklyn to come across. But Bruce hits that quite well. It just happened to be right at Purcell, and she was ready.
Q Purcell, 21 years of age. He's made some strong stops, and now Mackenzie Pluck, who was a really decisive player in the opening 45, might have played the best out of anybody on the side. Needs the medical attention here, and she is such a critical piece to what Brooklyn is trying to accomplish.
She pulled the strings, like you said, in midfield. Anytime she was on the ball, they had their best spells of possession. So you know Brooklyn is hoping she's going to be okay and be able to stay in this game. But those are two opportunities in a row that were critical for Carolina. And also, you could argue, critical for Brooklyn to make sure that they did not turn into goals. I love that corner kick because so many runs went to the near post. It allowed that space for Bruce in behind. But these are really interesting moments right now because Brooklyn's hanging in here, and you never know what that's going to do for the rest of the second half.
Between the two most stingy teams in the league defensively, are we in for an offensive second half of play? I certainly hope that Pluck is all right. Spent some time with Gotham earlier this year, Angel City a year ago. Now up and walking to the sideline for additional medical evaluation as Mackenzie George gets the words from Jess Silva before heading back onto the field. Looks like Pluck is going to be all right to stay in the game, judged by the body language from the training staff.
Brought to you by Nucor. Taking that kick will be number 7, Jill Aguilera.
Jill Aguilera ready to go with another corner kick. Brought to you by Nucor. Aguilera approaches, strikes it, hooking, back post, loose inside of the 18. Purcell saves another. Niku Purcell, 3 saves in the span of minutes to keep it 1-0.
And you can just see the quality of Purcell in all of these moments. And again, as another player goes down, Brooklyn is putting their bodies on the line to ensure that Carolina does not extend this lead. And it keeps starting with the goalkeeping of Purcell, but give credit to the back line. A goalkeeper sometimes can make a save like that, and your defense isn't ready to clear, and they absolutely have been. It's a great ball from Aguilera. It goes to the back post area. It's helped on here on the back post. It's Studer right there. It bounces down to Bedoya, who strikes it well, to be fair. It goes off the left leg of Purcell and then blocked again. But there's just so much going on in the penalty area. A lot of collisions here. And right there, Bedoya connects with it well, but just not able to put it in the back of the net.
We talked about the missed chance at the end of the first half for Carolina. Sarabka sliced the ball wide left. More chances coming here for the Ascent. Now Pluck having a word with her head coach about whether or not she can stay in the game, but after she was getting ready to be cleared, there's another injury on the field, so Pluck is allowed back on now. And they'll have to take a look at the other injury here for a moment. And that is Isabel Cox, 23-year-old who grew up in Greensboro. Became a Tar Heel. Played 5 years at North Carolina. The most appearances in UNC history. Heard they got a pretty good program, Casey. You got anything to say about that?
Well, I love the game of Isabel Cox for sure. She did a huge contribution for the Tar Heels during her time there, and it's nice seeing her contribute here for Brooklyn as well.
Good to see her smiling as well as she heads back to the sideline.
This is one of those games that's a little bit scary, though, because if you're Carolina, you're playing extremely well. You're generating chances, but Brooklyn just will not go away. And you've seen it. Pluck's given everything she has. Isabel Cox has, and then Purcell, are you kidding me, with those saves? So it's a little scary where you go, okay, this could either break open and Carolina could get a few goals, or Brooklyn could hang on and hang on and hang on and figure out a way to generate more attack to get an equalizer.
Jess Silva said that Niku Purcell has fantastic feet and great reactions. Well, she just displayed both of those in the span of 3 minutes to deny great chances for Carolina and keep it at a 1-goal differential. This ball loosely played back in. McClellan steps in front before Cox is bearing down. This was around the point when Brooklyn tied it up on Tuesday night between these teams. Intercepted for one moment before it's taken right back. It just does trickle out of play. Tries to gain a little bit of possession, now being outshot 10-3 in the match. It was even at 12 on Tuesday night. Carolina has had some great chances. 5 saves though from Purcell. This ball outletted for it. Garziano gets this ball over the top of everybody and out for a goal kick.
And what that does when they play a little bit more direct, it just makes the back line of Carolina Ascent think a little bit more, because they're not having success playing through the midfield necessarily because of the compact shape of the Ascent. But every time they've gone over the top, there's been a half chance at least that has come out of it. So if they can continue to do that, it may make the Ascent think a little bit more about dropping early. Then you can start to play between the lines and gain more possession.
The Carolina Ascent online storefront is live. Stock up for our next match on scarves, shirts, custom jerseys, and more. To shop, visit carolinaascent.com or .myspotify.com. Good run here. Cox tracks it down, but juggles. Studer comes over to erase that chance. There's that 5-minute spell for Carolina. The big moment in this match that leads Brooklyn back to an equalizer. Cox, low liner in, it trickles through. Sent right back out towards the middle of the park. Scarpelli. This McClellan again, nobody in the neighborhood to stop that.
But these are little moments that Brooklyn can build off of. They're starting to find more space in behind. That's something Carolina will have to adjust to. And it all starts with Hill in the back, just showing composure in transition, getting the ball and keeping it more in that midfield third. You can start to see that they're having more opportunities to do that. And I think that stems from just having some of those stops against Carolina. Hey, we're still in this. Let's figure out ways to try to get forward, and they're doing that.
McClellan. Garziano keeping an eye on her. Pass eludes as we hit the 1 hour mark in this matchup. Carolina continues to lead 1-0. Sarepka's goal in the 19th minute. Still the difference in the match, but the Ascent have had a great deal of chances in the last quarter hour, spanning the halftime break. Alongside former U.S. Women's National Team star Casey White and Penn State legend Anna Whitty, I'm Michael Wattrain. Great to have you on board with us tonight on Peacock. The top two teams entering the evening on the league table clashing. Carolina has been at the top of the table since day one of the Super League. And as it sits right now with the live results, they are 5 points clear of everybody else as Lexington has equalized against Fort Lauderdale. Quick throw. Juggling ball. Forward. Islin wins the race. Kroger guides it over. Numbers inside of the 18. Unable to unlock a pass, though. George is offside. Thought she was in a safe pocket. Just not. Join the Carolina Ascent on Saturday, November 9th for Salute to Service Night. Our Trailblazers are back at home and will take the pitch against Spokane Zypher FC. Lock in your seats and get your own Carolina Ascent branded beer stein. Visit CarolinaAscent.com/tickets to get your tickets today.
We're seeing a lot better energy from Brooklyn, and they're pressing and everything, and they're causing some mistakes, but it's much better, and it's definitely aiding their build-up. They're winning the ball back immediately after a loss of possession, and that's really helping them establish possession earlier on in the half.
Brooklyn getting ready for a couple changes here.
And we have substitutions for
two changes here. It's going to be
number 7,
Breslin and Garziano out. Salma Almani and Luana Gravias coming in. So the first two changes for Brooklyn of this second half. They've now swapped 3 different players after the halftime change of Pickard coming in. George able to get that ball. Right along the tight roping sideline. It's last touched and out for a goal kick. Brooklyn's in the heart of a tough stretch. For more on how Jess Silva and company are handling it, Anna Whitty.
Brooklyn making 3 substitutions in this game because in the month of October, Brooklyn will play 7 games in 3.5 weeks. Silva said the rotation is going to be key. No one else in the league has this schedule. However, she said it's been a super privilege to have the depth that she has on this team. Brooklyn has kicked off their chaos of October with 2 losses and a tie Tuesday against Carolina. Also, Michael and Casey, I hear you talking about those beer signs. You just let me know. I'll get you one before I see you next, okay?
Thanks so much, Anna. We are definitely going to take you up on that. Yeah, absolutely. Have a oversized backpack to make sure that she can fit them all in there. Of course, you can get those beer steins on November 9th. Kickoff at 7 p.m. on this field.
Not only just from a recovery and energy perspective, I think the substitutions are really good in that respective, but I also think Pickard coming into the game has been good. She's had a lot of energy at the outside back position. Rosette's had a really good season so far, but just technically looked a little bit off today, and I think that can happen after the cumulative effect of games. That can happen at times where it just was breaking down a little bit when it was in her area. So you do want depth because players are going to go in and out of form, and you've got to be able to just maintain the level you want to as an entire team.
Novan Health is proud to be the official healthcare provider of the Carolina Ascent FC with same and next day sick visits. Novan Health provides care when and where you need it. Schedule online at novanhealth.org. Ball sent forward here, trying to split a gap for Gravias. And ultimately it trickles Studer. McClellan works it right past confidently.
And again, Brooklyn's trying to expose the space in behind the back line. Garciano made a few runs, but she's more of someone who wants to come into midfield, drift in there and play make. Gravias is a different type of player, Jess Silva told us, that likes to penetrate into that space in behind. So I think she's seen that the direct play is starting to work and putting the personnel in place.
It takes a ricochet off of a sliding stop and it goes out for a corner kick. Carolina prepares for its third of the night. Corner kick brought to you by Nucor.
And that will be a corner kick for Carolina Ascent, brought to you by Nucor. Taking that kick will be number 10, Riley Baisden.
Riley Baisden wanders over. Baisden has spent time in Australia as well as with the North Carolina Courage for 3 years. Their 6th overall season after starring for Pepperdine. Baisden lines it up. Baisden hooks this ball. Back post, Studer charges. It's loose. Studer arcs this ball high. And for the first time off of a corner in this half, Purcell won't have to make a miraculous save. If you're Brooklyn, you talked about being direct, but how do you create more chances against a Carolina team right now that is really holding on to a lot of possession in attacking areas?
Well, unfortunately, if you're a Brooklyn fan, it's a little bit hopeful, but it's because Carolina Ascent has established the majority of possession. I think that Brooklyn's been a little bit more effective in making them uncomfortable, but right now, if that's what's working, you have to hope that you can catch them in transition and make the most of that opportunity.
Teams playing for the second time in a 4-day window. George chases after this ball. Mackenzie George rescues the second after a redirect. George arcs this ball in. McClellan, no issues. Former Rutgers star has really been good in this one. Commanded that box.
100%. And I think it's also important to point out that the direct play that we're seeing from Brooklyn is with purpose. It's not just hitting a ball forward. We saw it there. Even Mackenzie Pluck just getting on the half turn and breaking a line quickly into Almani and then breaking a line quickly into George. That is direct because it's in 2 passes, but it's under control with the purpose. It's not just being completely hopeful and going in behind the back line.
Carolina has been excellent all year long. Only 4 goals allowed this season. Entering the match, Brooklyn, Fort Lauderdale, Tampa all had given up the fewest of the teams in the Super League. This ball bounces. Baisden takes over. Sarepka, the goal scorer, gets knocked to the surface. And a foul is whistled, and a good chance here for Carolina again. Right along the chalk to set something up.
And this foul definitely gave the appearance of retaliation because there looked to be like a potential handball and they were trying to call for it. It wasn't. It went off Sarepka. And then you'll just see an extension right here of the elbow going out. So if you're going shoulder to shoulder, this isn't going to be called. But there's just a little extension there at the end. And Sarepka gets hit pretty hard. So not surprised that this one's called.
Kelsey Hill, the captain, going for the foul. As we wind to the 70th minute now, Carolina continues to lead 1-0. Ashlyn Sarepka became the 7th different goal scorer for Carolina in the infancy of the 24-25 season, the first year of the USL Super League. Thank you for watching. Casey White, Anna Whitty, and our team with you here in Charlotte, North Carolina, as the Ascent look to continue to be the best team in the Super League and also pull away, perhaps, from Brooklyn and Fort Lauderdale after tonight. Aguilera again. Dials this one up. Boomerangs this ball all the way across. It's shot right back through. A failed clearance attempt. Ricochet out for a Carolina throw. 20 more minutes to go in this match. Brooklyn fell behind on Tuesday, came back to tie it. Carolina has led in each of their last 2 before teams scored in the second half to tie it and take a point. looking to avoid that script if you're Carolina. Meanwhile, Jess Silva and Brooklyn looking to add to that. Sarepka. Marco takes it over. Eyes the right side. Josie Studer. Cycles through. Mackenzie George defends well. Now he comes forward all the way to this left-hand side. Abias. Amani up to the Morocco national team. Has 9 caps with that group. Gives it right back. Mia Corbin in the middle of the field. Slaloms through 3 defenders. Corbin still on her feet. Weaves it wide. Sarepka. Too much on that pass in the end. He's looking for Taylor Porter.
And I think a lot can be said about the front runners of Carolina, but also Mia Corbin, DeMarco in the midfield, along with Taylor Porter. They're a little bit of unsung heroes of just keeping the ball really calm in possession and dictating the tempo for the team.
And the tempo has not been an issue in this one. Another dangerous ball. Hill cycles that ball away. Lonnie bounces it off of Corbin. Starting to assert her presence here in this second half. And now Carolina will reset its shape. It has been a pristine effort so far. No question they would love another to breathe a little bit easier here down the stretch. Long ball is in. The flag is up for offside. Purcell made another save. Having a great second half, but the flag up nullifies that sequence.
Well, if Brooklyn is able to find an equalizer, they better thank Purcell, because she has come up incredibly big. And yes, that one's offside, but she still saves it. And so she is locked in right now.
Elevate your game day. Carolina Ascent FC offers a variety of pregame, halftime, and postgame experiences. Take your group outing to the next level. From marching onto the pitch with the pros to a post-game photo on the pitch, we can customize an unforgettable moment. Sarepka takes over. Sarepka dances around. Sarepka finishes. No denying Carolina this time. It's a second for the Ascent and a much-needed breathing room here against Brooklyn. 2-0 Carolina.
Everyone in the stadium looks incredibly happy, as they should, and it's Ashlyn Sarepka who comes up big in this moment. It's a good ball early and behind. Brooklyn's backline is stepping and just not coming across it as Pantuso. Sarepka has a nose for goal, and you can't ask much out of Purcell on that one. Sarepka just draws her in, takes the touch, one touch to draw her, one touch around her, and then a great finish getting her hips around it. A lot of trailing players trying to cover in Purcell, but she makes no doubt about it.
First time this year that Brooklyn has given up multiple goals in a match, so only Carolina have not allowed more than one all season. And that goal from Sarepka, presented by Food Lion, score to give me more. Well, I guess I can finish what I was saying prior to that. You march on the field with the pros, take a post-game photo as well on the pitch. We can customize an unforgettable game day experience for you and your group. Visit CarolinaAscent.com/groups to lock in an unforgettable match day experience. And I think it was semi-timely that I was in the middle of reading that promo, because talk about unforgettable experiences. Sarepka with her first career brace for Carolina comes on a night when Carolina desperately needed a second. They had flirted with the second one. Felt like they were never going to get it, and just in time, with about a quarter hour to go, they finally break through, and Sarepka finishes, making amends for one that she missed earlier.
And in this season, we've seen her smile a lot, and she's been involved with goals, celebrating her team, but I'm sure she feels great being able to contribute on the scoreline, just like any forward would. You want to get that initial first goal, get that groove going with your goal scoring, and she certainly has done that tonight.
It's just the third second half goal scored this year by Carolina as well, of the 10 that they've put in the net so far this season. With a quarter hour to go, Carolina in full control now. And now, if you're Brooklyn, how do you try to change the plot down the stretch? That ball trickles out in the end. Aguilera shielding to launch it out for a goal kick.
Well, what I love, too, about Sarepka's play, and any young players watching, is that she's done work on the other side of the ball as well. She's come back into midfield, sliding tackles. She's been great defensively as well. And so often that you can look at goal scorers and think it's just about that. But really, she's done work on both sides of the ball with her work rate and the way she's defended. So it's nice to see her rewarded, though, on the attacking side.
Mackenzie George able to hold on to it. Brooklyn Reading a couple more subs. So 2 more changes. Dana Sheriff and Emily Yepo come in. It is George and Cox that come out. This is now 5 changes for Brooklyn. Carolina have not used one yet.
Number 8, Dana Sheriff.
All substitutions tonight brought to you by Train Tech.
Mackenzie George. And number 21, Emily Yapel. In for number 13.
Sarepka tracks down another. Sarepka, this time bumped off of it by Pentuso. And it's a goal kick. At one point this year had a scoreless streak of over 400 minutes, but now they have conceded for a 4th consecutive game. Have not won a match since September 28th, and going through this gauntlet of 7 games in 25 days. Trailing 2-0 here on the road in Charlotte. Brooklyn will go back home in a few days against Tampa Bay in a midweek matchup before hosting Fort Lauderdale and then Spokane. What a busy October window this is. This ball's trickled in. Baisden shoots, and it trickles just wide in the end. Is just enough of a piece to get that ball away from Pentuso.
It was good build-up and a nice one-touch ball behind that springs Baisden into that area behind the back line, and I believe it's Sarepka that gets a touch on it. Baisden starts it. And it's a great little turn outside of the foot, and then a diving tackle right at the end from Pentuso, and Baisden goes down hard, and it almost goes into the goal, but does give him a corner kick.
Another Carolina Ascent corner kick brought to you by Nucor.
Taking that kick will be number 7.
Jill Aguilera heads over. Just a shade over 10 minutes remaining. Aguilera curls this ball across. And now Carolina will have to set up for a corner kick on the opposite side. Oh, check that. Looked like it was originally given a corner kick, but overturned by Natalie Simon for a goal kick. Bucket hats, fireworks, stadium blankets, and more. The Carolina Ascent has you covered with giveaways all season long. Guarantee your favorite giveaways and choose 3 matches and 3 games on your schedule your way. For more info about our 3-game mini plans, visit carolinaascent.com/tickets.
And one of the things that the way Carolina's defended is they've really forced the center backs of Brooklyn to be the playmakers, and they haven't really felt comfortable in that. You could see it there in that moment, just dribbling forward, trying to spring Scarpelli on this near side channel, just not able to do it. And that's the bet you take when you play in the 4-4-2, is let the center backs play out, and that's worked well for the Ascent so far.
51st minute. Sarepka goals in the 19th and 74th minutes. And the last remaining unbeaten side in the USL Super League. Out in front 2-0 here in this matchup. All of the top two coming into the evening. Brooklyn now currently tied with Fort Lauderdale for second, as Fort Lauderdale tied with Lexington 1-1. This ball worked in between lines. Sheriff looks wide. Cross stings all the way in. Ultimately cleared as far as Kroger. McClellan backpedaling, slow this ball down. Michael Watring and Casey wind up here in the booth. Anna Whitty down on the field. Our entire team happy to have you on board for this one. USL Super League here on Peacock. Sarepka taps it over. There's space on this side for Basden. Basin surveys, arcs it, back post, and over the top of the head of Corbett. He would have been up though for offside, nevertheless, but more dangerous moments for Carolina.
And just the timing a little bit off, but I love the foresight of Basin to try to play that. If it's done in one touch, most likely not offside, but a really good attack again in transition from Carolina.
On the second ball, it's brought in. Basden, though, knocks it away. Shots in the match at 13-4. 7-1 shots on target in favor of Carolina. A team that has trailed for only 28 minutes all year long. And the last time they trailed was 56 days ago. Will Brooklyn have anything to say out of this, or will it be a fourth clean sheet of the year for the Ascent? Skims past one defender. It's an excellent maneuver here. The touch goes wide. The swinging shot attempt from Grabias. It's off of a sliding effort from Vicky Bruce, and ultimately out for a goal kick.
And again, it is Mackenzie Pluck, though. When things are going well for Brooklyn, it is at her feet. She looks like she's trying to take over games and take players on. This is good from her, from the midfielder. She's good in possession, but now she's becoming even more dangerous facing forward. We saw it at the collegiate level. She's doing it now at the professional level, trying to spring Grabias in there. It was great feet from her, and they're given a goal kick, but better from Brooklyn.
In the aftermath of both hurricanes Helene and Milton, the USL has partnered with United Way Suncoast to help the Tampa Bay area recover from the devastation the storm left behind. To learn how you can get involved, scan the QR code or visit uslsoccer.com/Milton to ensure individuals and families have the access to resources they need to recover. Yapel dances to her right. Yapel getting tugged. Yapel swings the leg. It's blocked again, and it hits her hand. So, in the end, another maneuver forward from Brooklyn that ends in a rejection. Whistle and a foul given here on the takedown. Join the Carolina Ascent on Saturday, November 9th for Salute to Service Night. Our Trailblazers are back home and will take the pitch against Spokane Zephyr FC. Lock in your seats and get your own Carolina Ascent branded beer stunt. Visit carolinaascent.com/tickets to get your tickets.
I think in these last few minutes of the game, if you're Carolina, now you're thinking about how do we stay stingy defensively? Like, can we secure a shutout? That's really important in these moments. It's highly unlikely that 2 goals are going to be scored in these last 5 minutes, but it can happen. But more importantly, how do you use this as a catalyst forward that you become really hard to score on and continue that?
I was just about to ask, if you're Carolina, what do you take out of this game as you try to build and continue to get better in a league in which you'll have 4 wins and 4 draws through 8?
Well, there's a lot of positives. 1, you get another goal scorer going in Ashlyn Sarepka. 2, your defensive organization has been great. Not only have you not given up a goal, but you've limited goal scoring chances, which is a huge indicator of your success and your defensive discipline. And then they've been really good in possession as well and managed different moments of the game. So overall, this is a really good performance from the Carolina Ascent.
A team right now that is on a different level than the rest in the league so far, but it's early in the campaign and plenty of time to go after this. They will be tested in their next 2 road trips to Dallas and then the nation's capital.
I think all of us that watch the game know that just because you win a game doesn't necessarily mean it's a good all-around performance. But I think Carolina Ascent, if they pull this out, they can really go, okay, there are a few things we can even continue to grow, but overall, a great performance all around. That doesn't always come with the 3 points, but it might tonight.
And then conversely, if you're Brooklyn, you're in this slog of a schedule, and getting points has all of a sudden become more and more difficult to come by. How do you try to gather yourselves and get ready for another match that's just 4 days away again?
You have to have a short-term memory. You have to figure out how to reset and look at the next opponent, learn but not dwell. And I think that's really important in how you manage your team, and certainly Jess Silva will do that. There's also been some bright spots coming in off the bench. Amani's been good. Gravias, when she's come in, continue to use those players to grow and continue to keep the team motivated.
Definitely had an uphill climb from the jump, trying to get everything in place within this group, as every team in the Super League have had so far this year. Ultimately, it's just about time and patience trying to get through this window. Carolina is preparing its first sub of the night. Jada McGrew, the 17-year-old out of Charlotte who's committed to Florida State, is coming on. Nia Corbin comes out. McGrew making her 3rd appearance of the year. Subs presented by Newcourt, and Pluck shoots this ball over the top.
And that shot was over the crossbar. Goal kick, Carolina Ascent.
Megan McClellan hasn't had a whole lot of work to do tonight. Has made just the 1 save, now 15 overall for the year, and closing in on a 4th clean sheet of the campaign as well, as we hit the 90th minute of play now. 2-0, Carolina out in front. Ashlyn Sarepka, 19th minute and 74th minute goals are the difference. Yapel arcs this ball, and instead of hooking it, she slices it, much like my golf game.
Come on, give yourself a little credit.
I would love to give myself more credit on the golf course. I would love that, but my slice is as good as it gets. Yeah,
we all
absolutely.
deal with that. It's fine.
The best part of this league and the schedule that is laid out for us is you can watch these teams in October and see the evolution come March and April, and there's no doubt about it that these 2 teams have all the pieces in place to have their say in the end for a championship at the end of year 1 of the USL Super League. Second half stoppage is brought to you by Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina. 5 minutes of stoppage time.
And the fourth official has indicated a minimum of 5 minutes of stoppage time. Stoppage time is presented by Blue Cross Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Born in Morocco, moved to France at 8 months old. Represents the Moroccan national team. Sarepka takes it away. Could have went for a third, instead has it taken away, and Tuso.
And I think that's just 91st minute, right? There's been a lot of work from Sarepka in that space. I thought she was going to cut that inside, but at the same time, they're at a 2-0 lead. Not really a need to go forward and can just kind of get back into shape here.
This is a well-weighted ball along that right-hand side. Sheriff tracks it down. Sheriff, those fresh legs, arcs this ball in. Plock was waiting and pounces on it and pummels it too high.
What's interesting about Brooklyn is with their substitutions, you get a little bit of a different look. It's a bit more of a direct starting lineup with Garziano and Cox in there. Now you've got Grabius in, you've got Amani. They're a little bit more between the line type of players, a little bit more in combination play. So that can be something that I think Jess Silva will probably lean into throughout the season, is those different combinations so they have that unpredictability going forward.
Yeah, and ultimately finding those relationships that work on the field, that's going to take time. And particularly when you're playing this many games in a tight window, you don't necessarily have the training to be able to figure it out. You have to do it on the fly. This ball arcs in, takes a couple bounces, and flies out. Amani looks forward, dances, throws it through the middle. It's slowed down. Pluck arcs this ball. It takes a ricochet. And McClellan again comes out to clutch. Ball bounces over. Baisden unable to latch onto it. It gets sent away. And we get a sub. It's the 14-year-old from Columbus, Ohio, Stella Spitzer, making her debut here in the USL Super League. Spitzer is going to replace Sarepka, who has a brace tonight to power Carolina out in front, 2-0 this evening. Looks like we have an injured Ascent player here. Instead of it being Sarepka, it's going to be Riley Baisden that's going to come out, as she's the one that's down. So we see this youth, and I think it's so great to have more and more teams in the United States for players like Spitzer to get an opportunity to play at levels like these as their career develops and advances, and they get this enhancement on a weekly basis.
And as a player, you're always searching out that next environment. You don't know how to adapt until you see it, until you live it. And that's what's so exciting about these opportunities for these young athletes coming through, is they get to train on a daily basis, but they also get to go into a game like this and see how quick it is. And that will help propel them in their development over the coming years.
Baisden back to her feet. She's heading off. Now Stella Spitzer is coming onto the field, the 14-year-old from Columbus, Ohio. is onto the field for the first time in the USL Super League. Stoppage added a couple minutes. You'd think that we'd get that back here in stoppage time. Spitzer charges right onto it. An ovation from the coaching staff, and she wins the foul.
And may I have your attention, please? A set of keys.
And we'll take a look at this. She does really well, just gets her body in front. And look at the composure there from the youngster, just going around the outside and then drawing the foul. That composure is definitely beyond her years. You can see why she's playing in the Super League right now.
Juggles around, stepping on it for a moment. And ultimately goes out across the end line. Brooklyn, after coming back to tie it up after trailing 1-0 at halftime on Tuesday, Carolina is able to put this one away after being unable to do so in any of the last two matches. McGrew takes this ball. McGrew, Spitzer's in the middle of the park. This ball gets poked to the sideline, and it goes out for a goal kick. And now, Carolina will make that other change for Sarepka to get her off of the field. Ellie Beard, out of the tremendous program with Marquette, comes onto the field.
And we have a substitution for Carolina Ascent.
So Beard onto the pitch.
Ellie Beard.
7 caps with the Israeli national team.
For number 19, Ashlyn Sarepka.
Foul given. More time to go in this one as Carolina trying to see it out. And earn a 4th clean sheet of the campaign. Waiting on the final whistle now. Beard retreats, knocks over the official, Natalie Simon. I mean, I guess if they're in your way, why not? And there's the full-time whistle. Carolina remains unbeaten. Its 4th win of the season is decisive. 2-0 against Brooklyn here tonight. Ashlyn Sarepka gets a brace, her first 2 goals of the year, and the Ascent win it. And Casey, really clinical performance from Carolina for the full 90 minutes.
It was. They looked in control the entire game. There were moments that Brooklyn started to get some opportunities, but just nothing really clear. They looked good defensively. They have a player in Ashlyn Sarepka who just showed up, got her first 2 goals of the year. That always bodes well for the attack when you're able to score by committee, and that's something certainly the Ascent can do.
Time for our player of the match, and it's presented by Nucor, and it is Ashlyn Sarepka. What a performance it was tonight by Sarepka, a native of Cornelius, North Carolina. And Sarepka is our player of the match, presented by Nucor. Anna Whitty is standing by with Philip Poole after tonight's 2-0 win.
Coach, 3 points, your team stays undefeated, and you saw a 7th goal scorer on the season. Why has your team been so consistent in the attack this season?
I think we're growing in the attack. I think we could have more consistency, and I think even you see tonight, we've probably left 5 or 6 good chances on the table again. Happy to get 2 goals and happy to get a shot out, and obviously Ashlyn stole the show with 2 goals, so really happy for her.
Sarepka with a brace in this one. How have you seen her game grow this season?
Ash is an amazing teammate, an amazing person. So she starts with that foundation and she works out every day. She's played in 3 or 4 positions for us. So, you know, you think about a teammate and someone that brings so much, she just gets her rewards tonight. So great person, great teammate.
Versatility is key. This is the second time you've seen Brooklyn since Tuesday. You held them to a clean sheet. How did your team grow since that match on Tuesday?
Yeah, what we talked about, we felt like we had the right game plan on Tuesday. We created the right opportunities. We didn't necessarily put them away. So we said, hey, same game plan, but better. Just do it better, do it better. And I think we did tonight.
Thanks, Coach. Congratulations.
Thanks, Anna.
Thanks so much, Anna, for that conversation with Philip Poole. Time for our Save of the Match presented by Train Tech. And McClellan was erasing this one early in this second half.
And this was early on that they could have really changed things. This was a 1-0 lead at this point in time. She holds her line, doesn't do too much to come out, and just waits for it to come close to her and is able to snatch it.
Time for our play of the match presented by Food Lion, and it comes with Sarepka's second to put this one on ice.
Well, and this is the difference. It's 1-0 at this point. Brooklyn's pushing. They're starting to figure out things, and Sarepka just decides to take the game over herself. Takes on Purcell in goal, gets a second one. It's a great finish from the forward.
Purcell's brace propels Carolina to a 2-0 victory tonight against Brooklyn. The final 2-0 for the Ascent over Brooklyn. We'll be back here in Charlotte in just a minute with the highlights to recap our night. Tonight's match and Oktoberfest night is presented by Nucor. Nucor Corporation is the safest, highest quality, lowest cost, most productive, and most profitable steel and steel products company in the world. Nucor is the official sponsor of the Carolina Ascent FC, and Ashlyn Sarepka's brace tonight leads Carolina to its 4th win of the year. 2-0 tonight. Michael and Casey wrapping up the evening as we take a look at our highlights presented by Nucor. And things started for Carolina early in the 19th minute. Sarepka on the right end of this ball in the second phase.
This is a great team goal. Taylor Porter collects it here in midfield, finding DeMarco out in the wide space to Josie Suter, the outside back, gets on the overlap, and it's Sarepka just timing her run really well, gets in front of the defender and in front of Purcell, just taps it across with the right foot for the lead.
Zarepka gets her first goal of the season on that moment, and in the 74th minute, after several missed chances for Carolina, Sarepka wins the race to this ball and is so confident and calm.
And this was critical, and this is great goal-scoring awareness right there by Sarepka as Purcell's coming out, uses her momentum against her. Instead of taking it on the first touch, decides to go around instead and then gets it on frame. An essential goal for the Ascent as they go for the win.
Sarepka's brace is the difference here tonight. The celebration in full force, and our full-time stats presented by Newcourt. Brooklyn ends up with 10 shots in this game, but those were decisive because Carolina was much more aggressive in their attack.
I think Carolina was dominant, obviously, on the scoreboard, but also in every statistical category. It really was the efficiency on frame for Brooklyn as they did generate more chances in that second half.
So it is Carolina remaining unbeaten, and a team that has trailed for only 28 minutes this year is still the top team in the USL Super League with a 2-0 win here tonight for our entire crew. Anna Whitty down on the field, and my partner Casey White. I'm Michael Wantrang signing off here from Charlotte. Carolina wins it over Brooklyn by a 2-0 margin as they get their league-leading 4th goal clean sheet of the season. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Good night, everybody.